That was not a foul. That call should have been reversed on that challenge.
You know what's crazier than a buzzer beater? A coach saying the whole game was rigged. That's exactly what happened in the WNBA Finals, and it's blowing up the internet. Coach Cheryl Reeve of the Minnesota Lynx dropped a bomb, claiming the league fixed the finals. But here's the real shocker. This isn't just some random coach. Reeve's got 4 championship rings.
Sometimes you get away with stuff when you're physical and aggressive, and they certainly did. You know, it's a shame that officiating, you know, had such a hand in a series like this.
So why is she saying this? Is she onto something, or is this just another one of her famous complaints? We're diving into this mess, and trust me, it's wilder than any game you've ever seen. All right, let's talk about Cheryl Reeve. You know that friend who always finds something to complain about? That's Reeve in the WNBA world. But here's the thing, she's not just some random person. Reeve's the head coach of the Minnesota Lynx.
You know, all the headlines will be Reeve cries foul. Bring it on, right? Bring it on. Because this shit was stolen from us.
And she's been crushing it since 2010. We're talking 4 WNBA championships in just over a decade. That's like winning the Super Bowl 4 times in 13 years. It's insane. But Reeve's not just known for her wins. She's got a reputation for speaking her mind, even when it gets her in hot water. Remember when she went off about preseason games not being on TV? That was just a warm-up.
You know, we could have done some things, right? But you shouldn't have to overcome to that extent. This shit ain't that hard. Officiating it's not that hard. When someone is being held, be consistent. If you don't want to hold it one end, then don't call it the other.
Now she's taking on the entire WNBA, saying they rigged the finals. Can you believe that? It's like accusing the NFL of fixing the Super Bowl. Here's where it gets wild. Reeve's team, the Lynx, weren't even in the finals. So why is she so fired up? It's like getting mad about a party you weren't invited to. Maybe it's because the New York Liberty won. They're the new kids on the block, and Reeve's not happy about it. It's like when that new restaurant opens up and suddenly everyone forgets about your favorite spot. But let's pump the brakes for a second. We can't just take Reeve's word for it. We need to look at what actually went down in that final game. Was it really rigged? Or is this just Reeve being Reeve? Players and coaches have called her passionate and competitive, but critics say she's just a sore loser. It's like that kid on the playground who always says the game was unfair when they lose. Reeve's not just complaining about this one game though. She's been vocal about all kinds of issues in the WNBA. Media coverage, officiating, you name it. She thinks it's all messing with the league's credibility. It's like she's trying to be the watchdog of women's basketball. Speaking of messing with the league's credibility, let's talk about the game that had everyone scratching their heads. Picture this. A championship match where both teams combined scored less than some NBA players do solo. How does that even happen in pro ball? Let's break down this disaster of a game. It's game 5 of the WNBA final, New York Liberty versus Las Vegas Aces. Everything's on the line, right? You'd expect fireworks, but what we got was more like soggy sparklers. The halftime score, 27-24. Yeah, you read that right. In a pro basketball game, they barely hit 50 points combined. It's like they were playing on a court made of quicksand. Now you're probably thinking, that can't be right, but trust me, it is. The shooting was so bad, it was almost funny. Almost. The New York Liberty, they shot 8% from the 3-point line. 8%. That's like missing 92 out of 100 shots. It's the kind of performance that makes you wonder if they swapped the ball for a bowling ball when no one was looking. But here's the kicker. They still won. How? Because the Aces were even worse. It's like watching a race where everyone's running backward. The final score was 67-62 in overtime. That's less points than some NBA players score by themselves in a regular game. It's like they were playing by golf rules. Lowest score wins. You might be thinking, was the defense just that good? Nah, it was just bad basketball. Really bad. We're talking air balls, bricks, and shots so off, they probably hit someone in the cheap seats. It was the kind of game that makes you appreciate those old guys at the YMCA who can at least hit the rim. This game was so ugly, it made people wonder, is this really the best the WNBA can offer? We're talking about the pinnacle of women's basketball, the championship series, and it looked like a middle school scrimmage. Star players, Sabrina Ionescu and Brianna Stewart, they went 5 for 34 from the field. That's not a typo either. It's the kind of stat line that makes coaches consider early retirement. While players were busy bricking shots, one coach was busy lighting fires off the court. Cheryl Reeve's explosive claim about the finals being stolen has raised eyebrows across the league. But does she have a point? point, or is this just another case of sour grapes? Let's talk about Reeve's rant. She dropped a bomb saying, "This game was stolen from us." Those are fighting words, especially coming from a coach whose team wasn't even playing. It's like complaining about a party you weren't invited to. So what's Reeve really talking about here? She's pointing fingers at the refs, saying they favored the Liberty, but is there any truth to that? Let's look at the numbers. The Liberty had 22 fouls called against them, while the Aces had 26. That's not exactly a huge difference. It's like comparing apples to slightly bigger apples. What about free throws? The Liberty shot 23. The Aces shot 18. Again, not exactly screaming rigged here. It's more like a minor inconvenience than a full-blown conspiracy. But Reeve's not backing down. She's practically daring the WNBA to fine her. That's how sure she is about this whole thing. Now, here's where it gets interesting. The WNBA is owned by the NBA, and we all know the NBA's had its fair share of ref scandals. Remember Tim Donaghy? That guy made rigged a household word in basketball. So when Reeve starts throwing around accusations, people start wondering if there's more to the story. But let's be real for a second. Is Reeve onto something here, or is this just sour grapes from a coach who's used to winning? She's got 4 championship rings after all. Maybe she's just not used to watching from the sidelines. It's like when your favorite team doesn't make the playoffs and suddenly you're convinced the whole system is corrupt. The thing is, Reeve's not just some random coach. She's a respected figure in the WNBA. When she talks, people listen. So these accusations, they're not just going to disappear. They're going to hang over the league like a bad smell, making everyone wonder if there's really something fishy going on. Forget rigged games for a second. The WNBA's got a tougher opponent itself. That primetime game wasn't just a battle on the court. It was a fight for the league's future. But here's the million-dollar question. Is the WNBA ready for the big leagues? Or did it just show America its Achilles heel? Let's face it, this drama isn't just about one bad game or one angry coach. The WNBA's got a bigger issue on its hands. They're trying to go mainstream, but games like this, they're not exactly rolling out the red carpet for new fans. Think about it. This was their chance to shine. Sunday night, primetime slot, and that's what they showed America? A game where both teams combined scored less than some NBA players do solo? Yikes. The league's been pushing hard, no doubt about it. They've got stars like Caitlin Clark coming in, fresh off her college success. They're getting more TV time, more coverage. But here's the thing. If the basketball's this bad, will anyone keep watching? It's like inviting everyone to your big house party and then serving stale chips and warm soda. Sure, people might show up once, but good luck getting them to come back. And it's not just about skill, you know? It's about entertainment. Let's be real. That final game was about as exciting as watching paint dry. In a world where we've got instant highlights, viral clips, and non-stop action at our fingertips, a low-scoring snooze fest isn't exactly going to set social media on fire, unless it's for all the wrong reasons. So now the WNBA's got a choice to make. Do they defend the game, say it was just an off night, a fluke, or do they admit there's a problem? Because let's be honest, pretending everything's fine when your championship game looks like a middle school scrimmage isn't exactly a winning strategy. It's like showing up to a job interview in your pajamas and insisting you're dressed for success. The sad part is, Reeve's rant might have done more damage than she realized. She wanted to expose rigging, but she might have exposed something worse: mediocrity. It's like pulling back the curtain to reveal the wizard, only to find out he's just a guy with a microphone and some smoke machines. The WNBA's been fighting for respect, for recognition, but games like this, they're not exactly helping the cause. Alright, let's wrap this up. Was the WNBA final rigged? Probably not. But man, it was ugly. Reeve's outburst, it's like a wake-up call for the whole league. The WNBA needs to step up its game, or it might never make it to the big league. They're trying to go mainstream, but games like that, they're not exactly rolling out the red carpet for new fans. So what do you think? Is Reeve right to complain, or is she just making excuses for a league that's not ready for prime time? Maybe it's a bit of both. One thing's for sure, the WNBA's got some work to do if they want to keep people watching. Because let's face it, if that's the best they've got, they might be in trouble.